welcome back to Say That Podcast, a Wingstop podcast.
Yes.
For us, by us, all that good stuff. We're here to talk culture and get to know team members here at Wingstop and get to know more about the business and our culture here. We've got Wanjira in the building.
Hello. Very excited to be here with
say
Donnie.
Hello to the podcast family out there. And for those that have watched our first episode, really appreciate that. We took a deep dive into the background of one of our team members here, Natalie Calderon.
Yeah.
So we appreciate those that have listened in. If you haven't, check it out. Please do so. Spotify, YouTube, all those platforms. Yeah. So, Wanjira, if you could introduce yourself. Oh, I'm Donnie Upshaw, by the way, for those that don't know. Chief People Officer here at Wingstop. And I've been with the brand for 5 years. And my Wingstop meal is a 10-piece mango habanero.
Wow, there we go. There we go. I like that.
Yeah. Some say I get an extra ranch, but we'll keep
it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my meal. So we'll let Wanjira introduce herself.
Very good to be here.
Yeah.
So name's Wanjira, district manager currently in New York, and I'm originally from Nairobi, Kenya. So very good to represent out here. And my favorite, I'd say, current order because it varies. Definitely mango habanero, so I'm going with Donnie on that one.
Let's go.
I'm team flats all the way.
Okay,
so
team flats.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Are we ranching or are we blue cheesing?
I'm a blue cheese girl all the way.
Oh, I won't hold that against you.
See, I can get an extra one.
There's plenty of it. That's why.
Exactly.
Well, Wanjira, let's get in a little bit about just your history at Wingstop.
Yeah.
And I'd love people to hear your journey and your story.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful one. So I'd love to just start with just where you grew up and your background, and then we'll jump into your Wingstop experience.
I love it. So originally, like I did say, I'm from Nairobi, Kenya, and that's on East Africa. So shout out East Africa, the 2-5 flow, as we call it.
Okay.
Hailing from two really hardworking parents that were always in business, and I think I got a really early introduction onto that. One of my earliest memories at probably 13 years old, I would have to wake up, and those days we didn't have systems or calculators or anything, so we would have to physically account for all the daily deposits and drop that in the bank with your full tally.
Yeah.
So I would do that all before I have to get to school in the morning.
Yeah. What age was this?
This was the first time I did that was around 13.
Okay.
And I'd open up the stores for them, and my dad was very, either you get it or you don't.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting it. At the time, I hated it. I said, why do I have to fill out deposit slips? Now, looking back, very grateful that I went through that. Onto my journey with Wingstop, I started out with Wingstop as what we called a navigator then. I think that term is no longer around, but we call it guest service expert. Yeah. And that was a cashier in the front of house.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when was that?
That was in 2020 at the height of COVID.
Yeah, yeah. And what made you join Wingstop at that time?
Again, hailing from a very business-oriented background, I was always introduced into working hard and having that work ethic. I was with a prior hotel brand, and at the time, the tourism industry was highly affected with the turnover in travel and everything. Sure. So I thought, how can I transfer some of these skills I've already acquired into a growing business and brand? Yeah. And then here came Wingstop.
That's great. That's tremendous.
Yeah.
And culinary background, right?
Yes, culinary background.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that.
Very interesting. I actually started out in what's called the cold kitchen, the guard, and that's more salads and cold based. Okay. And I thought, I got to get in the heat. Yeah. I am not liking this. It's very slow paced. And so I was just a line cook back then, and I asked my chef, hey, how can I learn more? I want to get where the action is, which is what you call the hot kitchen side. Yeah. Very fast paced, lots of yelling and shouting. Anybody who's worked in the industry knows how that goes. Yeah. And I said, I want to be in that space. I want to be somebody that challenges them and can live up to the par with some of the people there. Yeah. So I went into rotisserie, which is the meat station. And that's, if anybody knows, the hardest station in the kitchen. Okay. Because everybody likes the protein. So that's where it definitely starts. Yeah. Lots of volume, lots of heat, lots of, I call battle scars. Yeah. You get burnt a whole bunch, but through that you learn resilience, how to be in a room where not many of you exist as well. Sure. And I think that propelled me to where I am today.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So let's talk about your Wingstop journey a little bit. So front of house team member, guest experience. Yeah. And now you're a district manager, in New York City. So if you can walk us through just your progress with the brand and your growth with the brand and the roles you've had and the places you've been, that'd be awesome.
I started out here in Dallas, Texas at a location just off of Arlington. That was my first, I'd say, introduction into Wingstop, and that was a very interesting time for us too. We had changed our model to mostly pickup. Yeah. So I was coming in where that's how I knew Wingstop. I knew Wingstop was to go. I knew we didn't have the liquor back then either too, no beer and wine. So it was coming in a very different Wingstop already and having to adapt to that. We were also testing out CVAPs and all sorts of equipment. And I thought, with everything going on, look at this brand testing out stuff and thinking about the future and how to adapt. And that was so inspiring for me. And I said, you know what, I want to see how far I can take this. Sure. And so I would help out at restaurants anytime there were shifts to cover. I would be there. If I have to drive an hour away to Bugner or whatever.
Say that for the people in the back that can't hear you.
Yes,
going that extra mile, right?
Go
it pays
where
off.
Opportunity is.
For sure.
And I would say I've lived by that motto all the way and forever taking a challenge. Yeah. And then New York came about. Yeah. And everything I heard about New York was not the greatest or the easiest. And we all know it's not necessarily an easy market. But I thought, hey, what if I could do something and be the difference here? And what can I learn throughout this process that could help me and future Wanji probably gain skills here? Sure. And I took the jump, and that was from general manager that I moved over to district manager.
Yeah, and when was that? How long ago was that?
That was honestly about a year. We are in October. Yeah. It's right about a year.
Yeah, so 2 years with the brand, you make your way all the way to district manager.
Yep, I did. Cashier, cook, shift lead. You mention it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So, biggest takeaway from your time in New York?
Wow, that's a good one. So the hustle mentality. Nothing stops a New Yorkan. Floods, rats, roads closed.
Not in the restaurants.
Not in the restaurants, on the streets.
Yeah, let's clarify that.
Never in the restaurants, but nothing stops a New Yorkan. Yeah. They have such resilience, no matter what is going on or how many people are in the street or the ambulance siren. I say like that's the background of New York. Sure. You hear that fire ambulance maybe 5 times, but nothing stops a New Yorkan. Yeah,
that's so true. I love visiting the market myself because I'm inspired by the team members there and their resiliency. They take a bus, a train, walk, all the things to get to work. And you're talking about a minimum of 45-minute commute to come in and be a team member at Wingstop. And I think that's inspiring. Very. They're carrying fries up and down the basement. Stairs. Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible for sure.
It's very motivating too when you see, and you have to lead from a service standpoint with some of them. Sure. So how can I also inspire some of these people when I see all these challenges coming out through them too? Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So in terms of your success, what would you tell a younger Wanjira that you know today that you would tell your younger self?
I would say don't let anybody put you in a box.
Okay.
Very often, just by your name or the way you look, or there's certain things that precede you as a person. Sure. And that can lead to people kind of telling you who you are or what you want to be. And I mentioned growing up in Nairobi, there's a very big stereotype around just the doctor, the architect, the engineer. Yeah. Anything else outside of that, you're not close to successful. I had to challenge the way my parents thought and the way my grandparents thought to say, hey, but I don't want to be a doctor, engineer, or an architect. Like, that's great, but I just don't have those skills. So how can I still do my passion? My passion was always food and cooking, and how can I use that to inspire, grow people behind me, but also not be put in a box just based off my name or those 3 careers. Yeah. And for some time I did actually I studied biochemistry. That was the first thing I studied. Yeah. And one of my classes, they brought in a cadaver, and I was like, I am out. I am not doing this.
Well, hats off for even trying that. I would not have signed up for that, for the record. No, that's great. That's great. I love that. So, Wanjira, your favorite thing about Wingstop?
I think the culture and the diversity. Just walking around our global support center here in Dallas, looking at all the different people in this office and different backgrounds and walks of life, it just shows you how when so many people put their minds together, what we can all achieve. So it's good to see all these people and get to hear different stories. Like we just had the Speak Your Flavor on the Heritage Month, and it's good to hear about even similarities with like my background and some different cultures. So I think I love that we can be authentically ourselves in the space. Yeah,
let's double click there. What does authenticity mean to you? And just talk about how you feel about Wingstop and that core value of bringing your whole self to work, what that means to you and how that shows up.
Yeah, I think pink is my favorite color. And I get to wear a pink shirt with our Wingstop logo. So that's also just a small fraction of just how I can express myself and the way that I want to be. We've seen other brands or other companies where like tattoos or certain things are like kind of infringed upon, but we have that ability to express ourselves in ways like that, maybe your hair color or different stuff like that. And I think as the world gets more modern and more accepting of such things, you're allowed to really show up as who you are at Wingstop. And I think that's important for me and a lot of people from a different walk of life to kind of get that exposure. And everybody wants to be themselves. There's too many other people in the world, right? So I gotta be me.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me about like, what would you tell people when they say there's not opportunity in restaurants? You can't build a career in restaurants.
I would say if you tell yourself you can't, then you already can't. Once you have the idea that there's nothing else out for me, then no good in trying, because your mind is so strong. You've already convinced yourself you're not going to do it. I think our mentality, and I know we talked even yesterday about like the Mamba mentality. You have to have the belief in yourself. Shout out Kobe. You have to have that kind of drive and believe that no matter what anybody else says. And I even talked about putting you in a box. If I get myself out of that box or I grow the box, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says or thinks about me. And how has Wingstop enabled your career in that regard? In the short time I've been here, just showing how you can move up. Everything is hard work. So I think there's also an amount of work ethic and putting in effort where you need to. And I've had nights where I've had to put in long nights, and I've had early mornings, but nothing comes easy. Wingstop has definitely opened up these we have very open door policy. I'm sitting here with Donnie, the SVP, just as an example. So it's good that we get to talk to a lot of Michael's team, senior leadership. We see you guys. The doors are always open. And we're continuously growing. I think the fact that Wingstop is growing means there's room for everybody. And so you can show up, and we've created new roles in the span of 1 year. We have even now still creating more new roles, more opportunities, a new office. There's always opportunity with Wingstop.
I love that. Talk to me about just your perspective on how you lead your team and how you inspire your team to want to be, in your shoes one day. And
with growth, I think it's always good to bring people up there with you. So I learn from my team as much as they learn from me. I really learned that New York mentality from working with all these strong leaders that in the face of adversity, staircase, all of this, they show up and show out. And having a strong team only makes me want to be stronger for them, to show them that, I'm doing this for you because you guys are doing the hard work on the ground. So I'm just the support, really. So I can say having people that challenge you as well, and being open to that, and knowing that we're all human beings. I have room to improve. You have room to improve. We can all learn from whoever it is, from the person cleaning the office to the person in the highest seat. There's so much to learn from everyone's experience. And at Wingstop, we're able to do that. Even just conversations in the hallway and everything that goes on with our holiday parties or all the things we do for team members is just amazing.
Sounds like a lesson learned here is you get out what you put in, right?
Exactly.
I heard a lot of that woven into your comments. What inspires you? What gets you up every morning?
Again, I think I always go back to my roots and my upbringing. You don't see a lot of people, what they say, make it out. And you see a lot of people put in a box and they accept the box, and they're just like, well, that can never be me. I heard that so many times. Well, that can never be you. Oh, that can never be me. Or no, that's not for me. Why? Why don't we ask why or challenge that status quo? So I'm so inspired to inspire other young Black women like me that want to get to this position and show them that A, it's possible, but B, break the glass door. It doesn't exist. You know, just smash it through and charter your path.
Yeah. As we're smashing through, what's your aspirations? Where do you want to be? Is there a long-term goal that you have in mind? Yeah.
I would say long term. I definitely do hope to be a CEO one day.
Okay, let's go. I love that.
Thank you. Or maybe president, and just like really make the decisions that can help the people on the ground. Being that I do also have that background, I always think of that person in the restaurant saucing and tossing, that person that's actually making our food to order. How can we do what's best from our side to uplift them with us?
Yeah.
So I would say that more short term, definitely looking towards maybe a franchise business consultant role or potentially director in the near future as well.
Okay.
See all the positions. I've really thought this out, quite some steps, but it's good to also have a goal and know what you're working towards. 100%. So I like to say as many as I can to get there. Yeah.
Good. Shifting gears, let's say that podcast, we always have to ask the hard-hitting questions.
Yes.
So I'm going to hit you with one of the hard-hitting questions right now.
Let's go, Donnie.
Will Will and Jada get back together?
Wow. Are they, were they ever is the question.
There's a conspiracy that they may not have been.
I think some people find their soulmate early on, and, maybe they'll work it through.
Okay.
I think it's a maybe for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think finding a partner and a lifelong person is a hard thing.
Sure.
And nobody's perfect. You have to work through a lot of things together.
Look at Wanji dropping that relationship advice. Who knew the pod was going to take this turn, right?
Who knew? Right. You asked the heavy-hitter questions. And I think that's in everything, even just friendships, even work relationships. There's a lot of building that has to go into that.
Yeah. Let's stay there for a minute. How do you curate, build, nurture the right appropriate relationships at work that help you be successful in your role?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think connect, find similarities. We have something in common. Whatever it is, however weird it is, find something common, or the uncommon common too.
Sure.
There could be an experience, a food, a perfume. There's something we will share. How do I find that and able to connect to this person?
Yeah.
And then after connect, I like to say inspire. So and that's both ways. Maybe you can inspire me. I can learn something from you. After that connection, how do I now provoke thought in you or in myself or somebody else in the room?
Yeah.
And then 3, I would say learn. You can learn from anyone around you again. So after I connect, after we've inspired, what can I take away from this that really makes me know you as a person? And I'll remember that. And I'll bring that up in the next conversation.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So travel. I know you're well traveled.
I love this one.
Yeah. Number one, have you been back home recently?
Recently, no. Very unfortunate, but COVID did hit the country hard, and we had quarantine for a really long time.
Yeah.
Logistically, just did not make sense. Yeah. But my heart is always in Kenya,
okay.
So I will go back.
Okay. And then favorite place you've traveled?
Favorite place I've traveled so far has got to be Greece. I would
second that.
Oh yes. Yeah. That was one I planned. I saved up 3 years for.
Yeah.
I actually went to Cyprus and took a boat from Cyprus to Greece.
Okay.
And that was the best way to see. Just coming up on the water and approaching it was definitely my favorite. But fun fact, actually, my name, Wanjira, Wa means of in my traditional language, and Jera means the road. Okay. So in English, my name literally translates to the traveler. And I think I live up to that pretty well.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yes,
that's great.
Thank you.
That's great. And so what advice would you give to a new team member or a prospective candidate that wanted to come and join Wingstop?
Yeah, I would say know your purpose, find out your why, and hone into that, but hard work pays off.
Yeah.
Nothing comes easy. Being lazy or, a lot of other terms I could put there is not going to get you anywhere. Yeah. You don't get there by just wanting to get there.
Yeah.
There's an amount of effort and work that comes into it, and it gets easier as you go.
Sure.
As you get used to the work, it's always, you get better and you get stronger, and new challenges are not that challenging just because you've put in the work when you had to.
Yeah.
I would also say there's lots of potential, and never let anybody put you in a box. Yeah. You're bigger than whatever they say you can do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So anything else you want the audience to know about you or about Wingstop?
I actually want to ask you something.
I knew that was
Here
coming.
we go.
I knew that was coming.
From your perspective, what do you think has been the biggest change in Wingstop this year in our people?
Biggest change. I would say we just keep getting stronger as an organization. There's a tremendous amount of momentum in the brand.
Yeah.
I think the talent continues to rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
And there's just so much upside.
Yeah.
And so what's remained the same is our strategy, our long-term strategy, our flavor. We continue to bring the flavor. But what we continue, the way we continue to evolve and grow is just through how stronger we're getting as an organization, how healthy we're getting as an organization, and then the talent to take us there. So I think our menu stays the same.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Our food offering stays the same. The operator Wingstop stays the same. But what continues to get better is just the amount of growth we've had as a brand.
Yeah. That is very true. Dream. What is Donnie's dream vacation?
Ooh, dream vacation. It's probably got to be Asia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I haven't done Asia yet. So I'd probably say Asia.
Anywhere specific?
Like, you got to go to Bali, right?
You got to do Bali.
Yeah. You got to go to Thailand.
We got the top 50 list. You got to start knocking that off.
Start knocking off the top 50 hotel list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I think, that's a very good answer. We've definitely seen a shift in just our culture this year with our recognition and everything we're doing now to just appreciate our people. You can really see that with the impact Wingstop has made in our awesome numbers.
Yeah. I agree with that. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah.
That's flattering. Yeah. All right. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in to this episode of Say That with Wanjira. Yeah.
Do I get to say the like, follow, subscribe?
Yeah, of course.
I've been waiting for this part. Yeah. So definitely follow us on the Share Your Flavor Pod. Like, follow, subscribe on the button down here.
Yeah. We're on Spotify and YouTube.
Yes.
And check us out. Peace.
Yeah. Thank you.